If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell for notifications on future videos and become a stalker of the night. And I'll see you next time.
This happened when I was 13 or 14, so I was in middle school at the time. The school was about 10 minutes away by car. My parents worked out an arrangement with our neighbor, Jake, who was the same age as me. I think Jake was a normal kid. Our friends group didn't really overlap, so we didn't see each other at school except for by carpooling. I don't remember the exact arrangement, but basically my parents would drop us both off at school together, and Jake's mom would pick us up. Jake was usually pretty quiet in the car. His mom was really chatty. I had no issues with that. She always wanted to know what was going on at school. I wasn't going to share all the gossip with her, but I told her general things like how we had a spring play, how there was a science fair, things like that. I would have about 10 minutes worth of conversation with her, and we'd be back to the apartment complex where we lived. Then one day, things got really weird. Jake was sitting in the back seat that day. I was sitting in the front seat. His mom said, "I think you and Jake would make a cute couple. You should be his girlfriend." I didn't know what to say to that. I think I mumbled something like, I really don't know about that, and then stared out the window, trying to act like it wasn't happening. Why was she bringing this up? She didn't really know me. I barely even knew Jake. I didn't say anything more in the car. I just remember feeling a really weird awkwardness in the air. I didn't even turn to make eye contact with Jake. I figured he was probably just as uncomfortable as I was. When my parents had came home that evening, I told them about it. My mom and dad kind of shrugged it off. This hadn't been a serious violation. It wasn't as if Jake's mom had hit me or anything like that. But my parents said I shouldn't carpool with Jake anymore. I think my dad's exact words were, "You don't need to be around that." I didn't want to tell anyone at school about this. This wasn't Jake's fault. I didn't want to make him feel bad or embarrassed by saying anything to him or going around telling people about this. I kept quiet on this. I stopped carpooling with them, but I didn't tell anyone at school or anyone else. I rarely saw Jake at school, and we would just walk past each other. That really wasn't the end of it. After that, Jake's mom started showing up in places where I would be. I used to go to the park on Saturdays to play frisbee. Now I see Jake's mom there. She would smile at me. She caught on to how I went there Saturday mornings, and she would be there every single Saturday morning. I had previously never been there. There would also be other examples like that. Like Jake's mom would show up at the nail salon that I went to. I had never seen her there before, but I saw her twice the same month after we stopped carpooling. Maybe this was all a coincidence, but I really don't know, and I don't think it was. One day she came up to me at the library and said something like, "Oh, it's nice to see you here. I bet Jake would love it if you came over to visit soon. You two should hang out more." I didn't know what to say. All I could do was give this awkward smile and mumble something like, "Yeah, sure, maybe." Eventually, I had to tell my parents about this. They had a talk with Jake's mom and told her to leave me alone. That was the end of it, as far as I know. It was a really weird situation from that point onward. We'd almost never see each other. I hope that means that she stopped paying attention to me. Back when I was about 17, which was around 2009, I worked as a courtesy clerk at a grocery store, bagging groceries and bringing in the carts. My mom and sister also worked there, so the place felt like family. Most of the guys that I worked with were protective of me, which honestly was a blessing, because I got hit on by older men all the time. My boss would even follow me home some nights to make sure that no creeps were trailing me. One incident had stuck with me. It was insanely hot one day. I had just finished wrangling a mountain of carts and ducked into the little pizzeria corner of the store to cool down. Out of nowhere, this man in his 20s or 30s has come up, handed me his number. He didn't say much, if anything, and just walked off. I was too overheated to even react. The next day, a silver minivan had pulled up to me outside. I noticed baby shoes hanging from the rearview mirror. The man tried talking to me, and I remember cutting him off saying, "I'm 17, and I have a boyfriend." Usually that scared men away. This one didn't. That night, near closing time, my cashier had whispered something to me, saying that someone was watching us. I turned and saw the same guy from the minivan standing around the corner, just staring. I told my night manager about this, who immediately opened the office door while counting till to keep an eye on things. The guy eventually had left the store, but just waited outside. My manager ended up following me home again that night. A few days later, my aunt randomly texted me, which was really unusual. She hardly even talked to me. She sent me a link to a Craigslist missed connections post and asked if it was about me. It was. The post said something like this: I saw you working at the grocery store. You were cute. You wore a bow in your hair, suspenders hanging from your shorts, a bunch of wristbands, and had bright colored hair. Your name tag said Garrett. I'm 40 and would like to meet up. The Garrett part really freaked me out because Garrett wasn't me. My coworkers and I used to switch name tags sometimes just to mess with customers and see what the reactions would be like. So not only was this guy watching me closely enough to describe my entire outfit, but he also memorized the fake name that I just so happened to be wearing that day. I ran to my day manager, showed him the post. He immediately replied it with, Too young for you, parent. After that, things got even weirder. I'd see the same silver minivan around, but sometimes I wasn't sure if it was even the same guy. Once I rushed inside after spotting it, and suddenly the man was following me right down an aisle. There's no way that he could have parked that fast and then gotten inside. When I screamed, he bolted away before anyone else could see him. The police got involved and gave me an escort home every night for a week. Eventually, I transferred to another store in a different town, and I never saw the van or that man again. Being hit on by a creepy older man unfortunately never stopped, but that Craigslist post still gives me the chills to this day. I wish I could find it again. It was just unsettling reading how he described me. A few weeks ago, I was in Denver Airport. I got to the airport way early for my flight, out of convenience. I walked the terminal with my bag and suitcase to get some exercise, checking the options for food. I decided where to get lunch, got my food, and swiftly walked back to where I had decided to sit. I stopped at my decided seat facing a window and set my food down, taking off my backpack and kind of turning around. I noticed this man was standing close to another man sitting in a chair, behind my seat in the next set of chairs. Thinking that they were together, when I sat down, the same man had walked over to the doors in front of me, a little to the left, and stood facing the camera box. His face was only inches from it. Weird, I take notice about it. He walked off, but came back pretty quickly. At this point, I'm taking more than notice, checking his hands to see if he was touching himself, or trying to take a picture of me. He is not. Just standing there, nose literally almost touching the door. He disappears, and I'm enjoying my food. An employee begins approaching me. I pause my podcast and greet him. He's obviously coming to speak with me. He asks if I know the man and points towards the door that he was standing at. No, I don't know him, I say. The employee tells me, So I just wanted to let you know that he was following you. He had followed me through over half of the terminal. The employee said that he saw the man notice me and basically take off running after me, and the employee had followed us. The employee said that he tried to cut in between the man and me, and that man had sped up so that the employee was unable to get between us. According to the employee, when I sat down, the guy sat right behind me, and when I turned around, he stood up and jumped over to be standing beside the other guy. When I had thought that they were traveling together, when I sat down again, he came and stood in front of me, facing the door, paced off back to the other random guy, and then back to the door. He ran off when the employee had come over to talk to me and asked if I knew the man. The employee had been watching where he went, walked off into a shop. He was going to go see what was going on, and then if anything else happens, to please alert an employee. Another employee, I think more security type, came to chat with me and just make sure that I was okay. At some point, the man behind me, the man that had stood next to me, also had piped up that it was strange, and he was also alerted by the man's movements and standing so close to him. During this, the original employee had come back, let me know that he had boarded his flight. From the time the employee first approached me until the man boarded his flight was only about 10 to 15 minutes. That was all that it took. I'm so glad that I don't have to deal with this creep anymore, and that the employee was able to find him and make sure that he boarded his flight before bothering me once again.
I'll see you guys in the dark.